Thank you.
Your, I have the whole name on there.
What's that? Oh, that's fine.
Got Wheeler's name on it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
We'll give this to Chief.
Sure.
So, I can read through this whole thing just to prove that I can read, or I can just hit the high spots. So I think you answered my question, Mr. Mayor, if you think I'm a racist. You think that's in question? Okay. Or maybe I should just read that paragraph where I sat in your office for an hour asking
You
you
did.
questions. Okay, on May 8th, 2024, you gave a speech at Main Street Now conference in Birmingham, Alabama. In that speech, you characterized those of us that are opposed to the Burkhardt agenda as racist.
No.
Did you not?
No. Nowhere in there did I say anyone opposed to the agenda. I said folks are masking racism. Some folks are masking racism with words like illegal.
You didn't say
Such.
citizens had legitimate concerns. That never came out at all. So in doing so, you bringing up racism,
It's racism. In your opinion.
In my opinion, it's racism.
Well, then you didn't say masking until days later. Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Well, I mean, go ahead, Mike. You know why I question whether you are or you aren't.
In doing so, when you brought out the race card, you completely dismissed legitimate concerns about the negative consequences of past, present, and future mass immigration into Seymour. Okay?
Which
This is
mass
troubling.
immigration?
Mass immigration,
Yeah, no, I mean, where are we seeing mass immigration? Yes, we've had a lot of people move here, but how are you proposing mass immigration?
you don't see, you read the newspaper, all the driving without, never having a license, all that, all the wrecks. I can go on. Okay, your number one job, Mr. Mayor, is public safety.
Yep,
Public safety, right?
yep.
You think that's a joke?
No, that's what you've told me over and over again, sir.
No, that's
Do you
what
believe that to
are.
be true?
Go ahead, Mike. Tell
Do
me
you
what
believe
you
it to
got.
be true that your number one job as an elected official, head of a city, is public safety, or is it something else?
When have I ever told public safety not to do their job, sir? Matter of fact,
Policies
after
are
a matter
bringing
of,
in
what policies? What policy has ever
The Burkhardt
encouraged them
agenda.
not to do their job?
the Burkhardt agenda. You're bringing in illegal immigration.
Where does it
Whether
say
you
in
know
there
or
we're
not.
bringing in illegal immigration?
I was on the border, okay?
I think that's your comment.
I know what's going on at the border, and it's a direct conduit right here to Seymour, Indiana. We're not alone. Okay, I'll skip the hour-long, but it's there for you to read. The hour-long conversation we had, the concerns I brought up. It's not racism. These are legitimate concerns, and I'll get to that here in a minute.
If you didn't feel they were racism, why several times in that conversation did you look at me and go, I'm not racist, but?
Because you have to privilege that now for people like you that call us racist. We have to say, this is not racist.
Until you said that, I never even thought about you and racism, Mike, and then you said it and it started sticking in my head. So careful when you say that.
Well, because I know your agenda, and it's aligns with Brookings.
Okay.
All right, so sadly, I don't think any of the efforts or concerns raised by myself or citizens in the community have made an impact or resonated with you. Okay? The Burkhardt agenda was almost shovel-ready, and it was sprung upon us.
It was nowhere near shovel-ready, sir,
Okay?
because there were reasons that
All right.
it didn't come to the council as a comprehensive plan to be approved, because pieces needed to be worked out because it was a playbook. So that people could explore it and go, this works, this doesn't work, this might be something. Chip, you screamed about the fact that we needed to have environmental studies done, and you're correct, because it was not to that stage. It wasn't given the chance to get to that stage, Mike. It was shut down before that stage was ever even possible.
Okay, I'm not arguing that point. So, but another, just to follow on that sentence I have here, you're combative against any kind of dissent, right?
Not any kind, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sadly, the inevitable under these disastrous policies has happened. We've had a fatality, a local fatality at the hands of a four-time offender immigrant without a license, killed somebody. It's under wraps right now. There's not supposed to be a press release, but we have a fatality on our hands. And what's it going to take? 2 more people, 10 more people before we realize that public safety is an issue here?
How does a 4-time offender get out of jail and where does that fit for me? I do not control the legal system. I don't control the legal system. How do I control that, Mike? Because personal opinion, if you have 1 DUI, you should be locked up. Not forever, but long enough for you to go, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't have a DUI. Maybe I shouldn't take that risk because it only takes 1 chance to kill somebody.
Just this past week, we had a Seymour High School senior die of fentanyl poisoning. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the people are pissed off about that? You think they're racist?
What does race play into that, sir?
Because of the illegal drugs flowing across the border?
Who did she buy the drugs from, sir? Do you know that? Because I don't.
Where do you think fentanyl
I know
comes
that I
from?
was saddened when I heard of her death.
Where do you think fentanyl comes
You're
from?
responsible for it.
I was on the border.
Dana?
I know the drug is coming off. Okay, so I just want to ask you some pointed questions.
Sure.
And City Council, this is for you too. I'll email it to you later tonight. You can, if you care to respond, please respond. So, Mr. Mayor, do you think that citizens with any of the following concerns are racist? Concerns of illegal drugs pouring across the border and directly into communities like ours.
Not unless they've said something to make me think otherwise.
Concerns that, by and large, the immigrants are not assimilating, but bringing their third world cultural norms with them.
By and large,
I think we're upset.
does that make you
You think
racist?
we're racist, or we're just upset about?
Have you said anything to make me think you're a racist when you apply that question?
Concerns that,
It has nothing to do with what your questions are, Mike. It has to do with your actions. If you walk into a restaurant and you tell an American citizen,
who's doing that? Anybody here done that? No.
but it's happened right here in Seymour.
You know, we
and
can
it's
cherry
happened
pick
recently.
and say things.
Let me tell you, because it's happened.
Because one person says it, we're all that way?
The problem is, ma'am, is it's not one person. It is happening more and more and more.
Are we
It is-
racist, Mr. Mayor, for over 50% of our kindergarten classes being English second language and our citizen children are falling behind?
Have you said anything to make me believe that you are?
I'm asking you.
And I'm asking you, if you are asking
My
me
wife's
that
a
question.
kindergarten teacher. She just
Yeah.
graduated her 30th kindergarten class.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how kindergarten classes are. She
Yep.
teaches in a parochial school, so she's sheltered
Mm-hmm.
from that, so the students aren't falling behind. But 50% more than citizens, that's,
So my question
That's the
to you,
direction we're
is it a
going.
possibility that English as a second language might happen to an American citizen also?
You keep following him here.
No, it's Dana. That's not true.
That's-
Because the way the state of Indiana declares if you have to take ESL in kindergarten or farther is whether or not the primary language in your house is English or something else. There can be American citizens that go to school and still have to take ESL. So when you say 50%, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're an illegal immigrant. That means that they're a student that comes from a home that may be bilingual, where English is not the primary language.
do you think our citizen children are falling behind because of the ESL?
Personally, no,
More than
my kids have
50%?
done wonderful.
I'm happy.
I
for
can't
you.
say that for every kid,
Okay.
but
Do
I
you-
believe that our kids are very
Do
resilient.
you think these citizens here concerned about property taxes, do you think that's racist? Property taxes going up?
So why would property taxes go up, sir?
Because I don't know the dynamics, maybe somebody else can speak more to it. That's not my big thing.
So
But I know
showed to
citizens
you-
right here in this room, they had like 68, 73% property taxes go up.
Was that because
This
of
year.
assessments? Which assessments are set due to state code. City of Seymour has nothing to do with your assessment, Mike.
What about healthcare costs whenever non-citizens go to the ER and the Schneck has to write off $3 million a month or whatever they're doing? Do you think our costs go up?
I would assume that our costs go up whether an English speaker or non-English speaker go and write and don't pay their
Think these
bill.
citizens, these racist citizens are upset because the cartels are winning?
Are they winning?
Cartels are winning.
John, how have we done when it comes to cartel work the last few years? If you can answer that, because I realize that not all of those are probably public yet.
To say we have active cartel living in Seymour is accurate. Are they organized? No. The ones that we encounter,
How many?
Which cartels? They're different,
that I don't know. I don't know origin they come from. But we have DEA officers that work this area that take care of them and buy drugs and lock them up. And
There's
on it,
records at Brownstown that will detail it for you,
okay.
phone call away.
Well, let me say this, that by having this DEA task force officer, that's a Seymour police officer, we are able to get these cartel members charged on a federal level with, when I said earlier, how we have a problem with reoccurring offenders. On the federal level, the state cannot touch them. They go federally, they'll get 30+ years, they're out of here and they're gone. So having that DEA task force officer is a huge, huge help when it comes to dealing with these cartel members dealing drugs in Seymour, Indiana.
Yeah, but what about the ones that are illegal immigrants with no ID, no nothing, and just like O'Brien said, the last time here, that if they get arrested or hit a car or are drunk or hurt somebody, they go to jail for 48 hours, and if ICE don't come get them, they have to release them. Just like they did with the person that killed Lake Ryan down there in Louisville. He's on the streets. It's just gonna keep going.
Yep.
It's gonna go.
Because
and
that-
we got kids, we got grandkids, we got stuff we gotta protect, and we need him to help protect us in his job. We need you guys.
And you need a state law to say that we, the police department, can step in and make those arrests, and we can't. The federal government makes those laws, not state level. So I can't touch you for being an illegal immigrant.
I'll tell you what, there ought to be some city ordinance and stuff, because there's kids dying.
City cannot make an
The
ordinance.
city can't make an ordinance that covers that, Dana. That's what I've been hoping you would understand.
Well, I'm
You need to
sorry,
go
I'm
to
not
Jim and you
really
need to go,
all
hey.
educated. You know what, I'm not really educated enough to be speaking about that stuff that's legislative, but I am educated enough to tell you this. Illegal means illegal. Do we need to spray it on the walls?
Have you ever heard me say otherwise, Dana?
Well,
You have put plenty of words in my mouth, but have you ever heard me say
now wait a minute,
otherwise?
you did a pretty good job on
That's
me
fine.
in Birmingham, didn't you?
What, that you screamed shut it down?
Huh?
That you screamed shut it down? Because I'm pretty sure that's what I said about
You
you.
didn't say my name, you plastered me up on all over the wall. But you know what, I can take that, I'm a big boy. But I'm gonna tell you something. There's people that aren't gonna keep standing up or sitting down, and they're gonna start standing up because people are losing kids and grandkids. Now, I told you on March 25th, that was my daughter's birthday when we were here. And you wonder why I got mad and upset, it was her birthday. She died twice from Narcan, and she flipped her car on fentanyl. Now, I'm gonna tell you what, if you don't get a hand on it and you don't get the federal level or do something, they're gonna keep pouring in. You wanna invite more in. We need to get rid of them, because they're illegal.
Yep.
And you wanna bring more in. I mean, and then.
Dana, where in there did you read that I want to bring more in?
Welcome.
I'm trying to figure out how.
You gonna welcome her?
Right, yes.
Welcoming him from Columbus?
Let me share a story for you about the fact that the first time I walked through one of the local steel plants, not plant, but pipe places, I had a plant manager that looked at me and said, I lived in a hotel for 6 weeks when I got here because I couldn't find a place to stay. I couldn't figure out where to go pay my sewer bill when I did finally buy a house. That welcome center doesn't just involve immigrants, Dana. That involves anybody that moves to our community and helps them assimilate, which I think Mike said a minute ago.
Here's the thing. We gotta, what is the root? What is the root of the problem? You wanna know what the root is? We gotta get to the root. The root is leadership.
Okay?
You know what? Then you go on down to it, the root is illegal immigrants coming in. It affects the housing. I mean, I don't wanna go into corn in the front yard, 10 illegals living in 1-bedroom apartment. I don't wanna go into the roads. I mean, and the housing and the prices, and then also the jobs. I mean, if you just weigh it all out, look at it, man, it comes from illegal immigrants. I mean, does anybody agree, or am I just talking about my head?
Mike, back to you, buddy.
And you just shake your head like, Al, I'm about sick of him.
No, Mike's standing up here. He was patient to wait. I've been rude to him.
That's
Not
I'm
letting
sorry,
him.
Mike. I'm sorry, Mike.
Okay, Mayor Nicholson, can I ask you why you live in a small town?
I live here because I was born and raised here.
Me too. Have you seen Seymour transform in your lifetime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you live here, Mike, though, or do you live in Dudleytown? What's your actual
I have a
address?
Seymour address.
Yeah, what's your actual address?
I'm not gonna give my actual address. You can
Okay.
Google it.
So, in the country though?
Yeah, my
Okay.
family, I'll full circle here. So my mom and dad live over in the 400 block of East Second,
Mm-hmm,
right? They moved there in 68, I was born in 69.
mm-hmm,
I grew up here,
mm-hmm,
okay? I live outside the city limits,
yep,
okay? My mom and dad are 79 and 82. Mom's
Yep.
a retired nurse. Dad worked 31 years at Cummins, Navy veteran, all that. So they're not really able to take care of their affairs, but whenever a drunk illegal with no license, no insurance, hit and run, flipped their car, totaled my mom and dad's vehicles over here on East Second Street, November 5th.
mm-hmm,
I was in your office November 9th, raising all these concerns about public safety,
mm-hmm.
okay? Now you think I'm a racist for doing that, okay?
No,
I
I
have
don't think
roots
you're
here.
racist
My
for
family's been in this
for your
county for
concerns.
200,
I think your comments were what made
215
you go
years.
there.
I think you're flatly wrong, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor.
That's just a Democrat plot.
So
There we go.
The
There's
point
the name
is,
calling.
the point is, I and everyone in this room probably live in Seymour because it's a small town. We even have a song about it, right?
Sure.
Okay, we live here for a reason. We don't want to live in Indianapolis, Louisville, where there's high crime. We want to know who our neighbors are, right?
Mhm.
Whenever you're bringing in all this influx of people directly from the border, we don't know who they are, okay? That's all we're saying. I've been on the border for 8 months, okay, during 2 different administrations. I saw the quadrupling of the drugs, the fentanyl, the illegals, all that. I was there. I had 125 soldiers I was in charge of, working with Border Patrol. I kept the stats. I saw it firsthand. I'm telling you, we have a dangerous situation in the making. The more you invite it, the more you build it, the more they will come. Okay, we want to keep Seymour a small town. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right. So it feels like, maybe it's just me, but it feels like the ones pushing this agenda are the ones who stand to gain financially,
Absolutely.
trying to save the world with unlimited immigration. We want to save, that's in our human nature, try to help people. We can't help everyone, okay? The people are outright socialist, okay? That's just their agenda, and they tell us who they are. They want to, make a fair playing field or fair share, all that stuff, okay? Or all the above, okay? This is a small town, a red state, red town. We want to keep it that way. Okay, so I think there are concerns, and do you think it's racism for us to have concerns that maybe this is
And I repeat,
deep-seated?
Mike, I don't think it's racism that you have concerns, but your choice of words sometimes make me question whether or not you are.
What word?
I'm not racist, but is the sole reason
That's
that I
your go-to?
question
Got it.
whether you're racist.
Okay, I'll just close up here. So it is incumbent upon you, Mr. Mayor, to assure the citizens of Seymour that you are taking these concerns seriously. The concerns I've outlined and more.
Yeah.
Are you taking them seriously,
Yeah.
or are we just racist?
I have repeated it over and over again for you, Mike. I don't know how else.
Well, I have to
faithfully
ask, because
understand
I really don't know, honestly, Matt.
So I don't know how you want me to take your concerns any more seriously. I was on the phone with the chief of police shortly after your visit, trying to make sure that he had a conversation with you so he knew what was going on, so that you could try to work on it, so that he could try to work on it, so that the detectives could try to work on it. Now, I know the chief of police personally has asked State Representative Lucas if he would be kind enough to figure out how to control the LLCs and how many cars they can purchase and own and how they rent them out to people and what happens in that. Hopefully, Representative Lucas will take that back to the State House with him this year and work with it. So when you all accuse me of not working on your worries, you're mistaken. Because I have worked on your worries. I've taken your concerns. I've heard your thoughts, even on those moments where I question whether or not I agree with them. And I've went back and I've worked on them. So yes, Mike, I do have questions when it comes to whether you are or you aren't racist.
Oh, my God.
I
But
think this conversation's over.
that doesn't change
I and
the
a whole lot of
fact.
people have lost confidence in you. The only reason
Okay.
you're still in office is because we don't have a recall in Indiana.
Okay, good to hear.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike.
Ms. Herkamp?
My name is Paula Herkamp, and I would like to thank Mr. Mike Wright for providing his military background history. He was a military police officer, Afghanistan, Iraq, Middle East. He was also a Border Patrol agent, and he is my brother.
Thank you.
The elderly couple of which he spoke whose vehicles were destroyed by two drunken individuals. Those are my parents. With that being said, I would like to address Mr. Hubbard's long ago question about whether a motion needs to be made to separate the Parks Department agenda from the Brookings Institute report. I was hoping somebody else would be able to bring that up and follow through. Here is my personal opinion, and I do think there is a legal basis for this opinion. I am not a licensed attorney in the state of Indiana. I am not practicing law. I do not have a paralegal license. But I am a researcher because I am an English major and I research everything in life. Education, immigration, foreign policy, you name it. I've had two relatives who have served as commander-in-chief of this nation, as the President of the United States of America, and I do not take their responsibilities and their leaderships, whether I liked it or not. I do not take those situations lightly at all. So, in reference to Mr. Hubbard's question in regards to the Parks Department agenda, my question is, in that 5-year master plan for the Parks Department that was mentioned that it was implemented in 2020, pre-COVID era, how much of that 5-year master plan in the Parks Department projects was shifted over to the Brookings Institute agenda? And if so, were any of those good items shifted into the Brookings agenda in order to make the plan appear better? So those are my somewhat rhetorical questions that I would beg and beseech of each of you, whether you're playing on your tablets, your computers, writing squiggly notes, or whatever you're doing, and I've been watching for an hour. And I do not mean to be disrespectful. I know it's hot in here. As someone that was educated to be a teacher, I totally understand. It is extremely difficult to stay on task, not just for little kids, but for those of us adults as well. I understand it. I somewhat don't blame you for it, but I do because I'm a citizen at this meeting. And it's difficult for everyone in here. I'm sure it's difficult for Officer Watson, Mr. Davidson, Story, Mr. Lucas. I mean, okay? So what I would beseech of each of you is that to strongly consider that any of those Parks Department agenda items that were in that 5-year master plan, I would consider that those agenda items were forfeited at the time they were shifted over into the Brookings Institute plan. What I personally would like to see, and I think it is a reasonable and from a legal basis standpoint, that those agenda items be stricken and forfeited, and as time-consuming and tedious and laborious as it might be, to restart over on those aspects that were in that 5-year plan. And to do it, it looks forthcoming, forthright, and it will bring forth good results and good rapport from the community of the citizens. The citizens will feel that nothing is trying to be snuck back through again. And I know that was a comment that I had questioned at the last meeting. Were there any elements of that Brookings Institute plan that were going to be brought back in here and attempted to be snuck back in and resurrected? And that is still the concern from all of these people in this room, people watching on Facebook and everything else. So I would strongly beseech you to consider that those previous park agendas, much to the dismay of Mr. Keithley, whom I personally knew for a number of years, those agendas are forfeited, and we need to start over from scratch on those. They might not be in a 5-year agenda master plan. It might be a 1-year or a 2-year master plan. But I would strongly encourage you to truthfully consider that. And in closing, the lady that was sitting in the second row on the corner seat, I know she was overcome with emotion. I don't think that she had ill will or bad intent. And I think that's the basis of a lot of things in the law is intent. And I think that's where a lot of people are struggling. of suspecting that there are nefarious intentions going on. And if I were sitting on that side of the desk, I would probably feel that people are staring at me and trying to pick me apart as well. But at the expense, I am not a racist. But
You are now.
I know someone personally in this room who has personally spent $589,000 over an 18-month period feeding, clothing, going to third world countries. I speak Spanish. I'm not the ESL teacher like my cousin is. I'm not the 22-year missionary in Guatemala like my youngest sister was. But I go to many Central American nations, Mexico, Belize, Honduras, and so forth. And I guarantee you I do not have a racist bone in my body. I simply want the laws of the United States of America followed. So with that being said, I do not like to think with nefarious intent towards anyone, and I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But November 15th, 2021 rings a bell in my mind. And I did not bring the documents today to distribute to the crowd or to the council members, but I'll be sure to bring them next time. Because when the lady sitting in the seat here spoke about the mayor stating that we're a destination city, and respectfully speaking, Mr. Mayor, you denied that you'd said that. I have copies from November 15th, 2021, National Geographic article, Small Town Remakes Itself. The Guatemala, and you were stated 3 times in that article, we are a destination city.
I'm shocked that It is 10 after 10. Council members, anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.